It was supposed to be just another expedition, a journey into the frozen silence of the Ural Mountains. 9 experienced hikers, strong, trained, and prepared for anything nature could throw at them. But something went terribly wrong. When rescuers finally reached their campsite, they didn't find a struggle. They found something far more disturbing. A tent, cut open from the inside. Footprints, leading away, barefoot, into the endless snow. And bodies, scattered across the mountainside. Frozen, broken, some without eyes, others with injuries no one could explain. No signs of another person. No clear cause of death. No answers. Only one question remained. In late January, 1959, a group of 9 young hikers set out on a journey that would become one of the greatest mysteries in history. They were students and graduates from the Ural Polytechnical Institute, experienced, disciplined, and no strangers to harsh conditions. Their leader was Igor Dyatlov, a skilled and respected mountaineer. The plan was simple: reach a remote peak deep within the Ural Mountains, and return as certified elite hikers. It was supposed to take a few weeks. But from the very beginning, something felt off. One member turned back early, complaining of illness. At the time, it seemed like a minor setback. In reality, it may have saved his life. The remaining 9 continued forward, deeper into the wilderness, where temperatures dropped below -30 degrees Celsius, and the wind howled like something alive. On February 1st, they reached the slope of a mountain known as Kholat Syakhl, a name given by the local Mansi people. It means, Mountain of the Dead. That night, they set up camp on the exposed mountainside. No trees, no shelter, just endless snow and darkness. They ate, wrote in their journals, took photos, everything seemed normal. But sometime during the night, something happened. Something so terrifying, that 9 experienced hikers made a decision that would cost them everything. The last photo they ever took showed nothing unusual. Just snow, wind, and the quiet routine of a normal night in the mountains. But sometime after midnight, everything changed. No one knows exactly what woke them. No one knows what they saw, or heard. But the evidence they left behind tells a story far more terrifying than any witness ever could. Their tent was found ripped open from the inside. Not carefully unzipped, but violently cut, as if escaping was more important than survival. Inside, all their belongings were still there. Boots, coats, food, everything they needed to survive the freezing cold, left behind. Then came the footprints. Investigators followed a trail leading away from the tent, down the slope, into the darkness. Barefoot, some in thin socks, others with only one shoe. They hadn't run in chaos. The footprints were calm, ordered, as if they left, willingly. But why would anyone step out into -30 degrees Celsius, half-dressed, in the middle of the night? The trail led to the edge of a forest, over a kilometer away. That's where the first bodies were found. Under a lone tree, near the remains of a small fire. 2 of them, frozen. Their hands burned, as if they tried to climb the tree in desperation. Something had driven them out of the tent, but whatever it was, it didn't stop there. The first 2 bodies were only the beginning. As the search continued across the frozen slopes of the Ural Mountains, rescuers started finding the others. Between the forest and the abandoned tent, 3 more bodies were discovered, including their leader, Igor Dyatlov. They were positioned in a straight line, as if they had been trying to make their way back to the tent. Back to safety, back to warmth. But they never made it. Their bodies told a chilling story. Faces frozen in expressions of fear. Hands clenched. Muscles locked as if they had fought until their last breath. And then, weeks later, the final 4 were found. Buried deep beneath the snow, in a ravine. What rescuers saw made no sense. One had a crushed skull. Another had severe chest injuries, the kind usually seen in high-impact car crashes. But here's what terrified investigators the most: there were no external wounds. No cuts. No bruises that matched the severity of the damage inside. It was as if something incredibly powerful had struck them, without leaving a trace. And then, it got even worse. One of the victims was missing her tongue. The official report would later claim an unknown compelling force caused their deaths. But even today, no one knows what that force was. As news of the Dyatlov Pass incident spread, so did the theories. At first, officials tried to keep everything quiet. The area was sealed off. Reports were restricted, and the case was suddenly closed. Their final statement: an unknown compelling force, nothing more, no explanation, no answers, just silence. But people weren't satisfied, because the evidence didn't add up. Some investigators noticed something disturbing. Traces of radiation were found on parts of the victim's clothing. Radiation, in the middle of the Ural Mountains. That led to one of the most chilling theories: secret military testing. Some believe the hikers accidentally wandered into a classified experiment. Weapons, explosions, something powerful enough to cause internal injuries without visible damage. Others reported seeing strange orange lights in the sky that night, glowing, moving, silently above the mountains. Which led to another theory: something not from this world. But then, there's a darker possibility. One that few people talk about. What if, whatever they encountered, was already there? Watching, waiting. The Mansi people, native to that region, had long avoided that mountain. They called it the Mountain of the Dead. And maybe there was a reason for that. The truth is, every theory explains something, but none of them explain everything. And that's what makes this case so terrifying. Years passed, then decades, but the mystery of the Dyatlov Pass incident never faded. Files were buried, witnesses disappeared, and the mountain remained silent. In 2019, Russian authorities reopened the case. After months of investigation, they finally gave an official conclusion: an avalanche. Simple, natural, explained. But for many, that answer only made things worse. Because an avalanche doesn't explain everything. It doesn't explain why the tent was cut open from the inside, instead of being crushed. It doesn't explain the calm footprints, leading away into the darkness. It doesn't explain the radiation, or the strange lights in the sky, or the injuries that looked more like something from a violent impact than nature itself. And it definitely doesn't explain what made 9 experienced hikers leave safety behind and walk willingly into freezing death. Today, if you travel deep into the Ural Mountains, you'll find a place now known as Dyatlov Pass. A quiet, frozen stretch of land. Beautiful, but wrong. Some visitors say the air feels heavier there. Others claim their equipment suddenly stops working. And a few swear they're not alone. 9 people went up that mountain. None of them came back. And whatever happened that night is still out there.